The bustling noise of the restaurant was a comforting backdrop of clinking cutlery, soft laughter, and the hum of conversations. Among the diverse crowd enjoying their meals was Maya Johnson, a poised and confident black woman in her early 30s. Dressed in a sharp navy blazer and matching slacks, she exuded an air of quiet authority. Her warm smile and calm demeanor made her approachable yet distinctly commanding. Maya was enjoying her lunch, savoring a rare moment of respite from her demanding career as a special agent with the FBI. Unbeknownst to her, trouble was brewing nearby. Officer Brad Cooper, a local cop notorious for his prejudiced behavior, had been observing Maya from the moment she entered. His narrow worldview saw Maya's elegance and self-assurance as a challenge. Dressed in his uniform, he sat at the counter nursing a coffee, his hawk-like gaze fixed on her table. Maya, engrossed in reviewing a case file discreetly on her tablet, remained oblivious to Brad's unwarranted attention. Her professional instincts were sharp, but she had long learned to tune out unnecessary distractions, particularly those born of prejudice. However, Brad was not one to let things slide. Fueled by an inflated sense of authority and a deep-seated bias, he decided to act. Rising from his seat, Brad adjusted his belt and approached Maya's table. His heavy boots thudded against the wooden floor, drawing the attention of nearby diners. Maya glanced up, her composed expression unchanging. "Ma'am," Brad began, his tone dripping with condescension, "you've been acting suspiciously since you walked in here. Mind telling me what you're up to?" Maya raised an eyebrow, her voice steady and polite. "I'm having lunch and catching up on some work. Is there a problem, officer?" Brad's eyes narrowed. "Work, huh? Mind showing me some ID? You look a little out of place here." A hush fell over the restaurant as diners turned their attention to the unfolding scene. Maya set down her fork, her irritation carefully masked. "Out of place? I wasn't aware that enjoying a meal required justification." Brad's hand moved to rest on his holstered weapon, a not-so-subtle display of authority. "Don't get smart with me, lady. Show me some ID now, or I'll have to take you in." Maya took a deep breath, her professional training urging her to de-escalate the situation. "Officer, I assure you there's no reason for this. I'm happy to show you my identification, but perhaps we can discuss this without causing a scene." Brad smirked, clearly enjoying the attention. "I decide what's a scene. Stand up and put your hands where I can see them." Maya's patience wore thin, but she complied, standing slowly and keeping her hands visible. "I'm reaching for my ID," she said firmly, her eyes locking onto his in a silent challenge. As she reached into her blazer pocket, Brad's hand tightened on his weapon. Before she could retrieve her badge, he grabbed her wrist and twisted it behind her back, forcing her against the table. Gasps echoed through the restaurant, and several patrons reached for their phones to record the incident. "You're under arrest for suspicious activity and resisting an officer," Brad declared loudly, ignoring Maya's protests. Maya's voice remained calm, though anger simmered beneath the surface. "Officer, you're making a grave mistake. Release me immediately." Brad laughed mockingly. "Oh, I'll release you. At the station. Let's go." As he began to march her toward the exit, Maya decided it was time to end the charade. "Check my left pocket," she said evenly. Brad hesitated but reached into the indicated pocket, pulling out a sleek leather badge holder. When he flipped it open, his face drained of color. Staring back at him was the unmistakable emblem of the FBI and Maya's credentials, identifying her as a special agent. I didn't," Brad stammered, his bravado crumbling. Maya turned to face him, her eyes cold and unforgiving. "You didn't bother to verify before assaulting a federal agent? That's a serious offense, Officer Cooper." The restaurant erupted into murmurs as the weight of the situation became clear. Several patrons openly voiced their outrage, while others continued recording. Brad released her wrist as if burned, his hands trembling. I didn't know," he muttered weakly. Maya straightened her blazer, her voice icy. "Ignorance is not an excuse. You've not only violated my rights but embarrassed yourself and your department. Expect to hear from my superiors." At that moment, a senior officer entered the restaurant, summoned by concerned patrons. Upon seeing Maya's badge and the disheveled Brad, he quickly grasped the situation. "Agent Johnson, I deeply apologize for this misunderstanding." he said, glaring at Brad. I assure you this will be addressed immediately. Maya nodded curtly. See that it is. And Officer Cooper, consider this a lesson in humility and professionalism. With that, she retrieved her belongings and exited the restaurant, her dignity intact. The video footage of the incident quickly went viral, sparking widespread outrage and a departmental investigation into Brad's conduct. Maya, though shaken, continued her work undeterred, her resilience and composure serving as a powerful reminder of the importance of standing against injustice.